Hear the world calling, but son, don't you listen. They're only trying to drag you back into prison. That's right.
Welcome back to What Have You. I'm Rachel Jankovic.
I'm Becca Merkel.
And
I'm Summer Jaeger.
woohoo! We have a party in the car tonight.
Yeah, we do.
And we're at our typical overlook, which is outraged Summer because
Outraged
of
me.
all the things that we've not mentioned about it.
There's something,
highlights?
guys, that we never brought
Huddle up. Listen, every time they tell you about the Walmart, what they're doing is pretending that they're not parked outside of a Mormon ward. We are parked outside of a Mormon ward. I can't stop.
We just
looking
ignore
at
it. We just don't think about
You guys
it.
are like, oh, the Goodwill
You don't
and
know,
the police
Summer-
officers and the Walmart.
Yeah,
just
I
find
told
it really
you
dull.
that we don't mention the Palouse Surgery Center either,
But
or
that's not the point.
or the Planet 3 trampoline park. There's there's a lot of stuff we're not telling our
There's
listeners,
more-
Summer.
But the closest thing, other than the creepy pool,
No,
is
the La Quinta. You're the Yeah, okay, so we're right by Mormon church. But maybe what you don't know, Summer, is that I'm really popular among Mormons.
Wait,
No, she's not even
Okay,
joking.
I'm
This
not
is
even
so
joking
bad.
you.
what do you mean?
This
Okay.
is a dark secret.
Guys,
Well, it's not.
buckle up for the sinister plot of why Rachel doesn't want to talk about the Mormon church. It's a little too close to home.
What do you mean?
This is really embarrassing.
It is.
Okay.
It's a priceless thing in my
True
past.
confession.
You dated a Mormon.
No, Summer.
It was the worst thing I could think of.
I dated no one but my husband. So no, he's never been a Mormon.
never
so
been a Mormon.
we're clear on
He's
that
just
point.
from Chicago.
No, yeah, not a Mormon.
That's kind of the
Not a
same
Mormon.
thing.
So here's how this goes. I wrote, however many years ago, for Desiring God, a blog post that went bonzo viral.
Okay.
And it was called, I think it's Motherhood is a Calling. And one of them, it just was shared all over the place.
Okay.
But in that moment, you know how they do the Mormon broadcast to the world?
Yeah.
Well, Elder Neil Anderson was responsible for the family segment of the Mormon broadcast to the world. And he read an extensive part of my blog post for DG in the Mormon broadcast to the whole Mormon universe. He read it by satellite to all of them. So, but he said, and somebody,
Right into
I
that
could,
church.
yeah, it came through satellite to them. And he said, a woman not of our faith recently said.
Yeah.
So he didn't say it was his words. He quoted me, but he didn't say my name. But if you
found it.
search,
Sure, you find it.
search, it was that quote about, I should look it up on my phone. I'm all over Pinterest Mormon printables.
No.
With my
Pinterest
words.
Mormon printables are a thing.
Yeah, but it's
big.
my words attributed to Elder Neil Anderson in like 7 billion printables. And then right after that, this is how we found out about the broadcast to the world, because somebody who had read my article and knew me saw some big, cutesy print by Neil Anderson and was like, what is this about?
What's happening?
And so they went and Googled it on up. Then they used the same text. They used the text from that as the background words to a Mormon church commercial.
No.
And a man reads it in the weirdest voice. He goes,
I have to watch this. Is this on YouTube?
I don't know where it is.
Find this on the
Maybe
YouTubes?
he reads it, and it's a lot of ethnically diverse families being really happy in it.
There's nothing more Mormon than that.
Yeah, being super happy, and the whole time this man's voice in the background is going, "You do not collect children because they are cuter than postage stamps." Like it's like a absolutely horrifying creeper. I hope that they canceled it and that it's not available anywhere. But he reads the quote while they act out the happiness of the Mormon church, and it was rough times for me. And then right after that, someone who produces mass-produced Mormon wall art wanted to wood burn it for their catalog, and then they sent me.
The new never.
I think they just thought, sorry, I'm still going.
rabbit
But they
trail.
sent me a 12-foot sample of the Mormon. What? The Mormon. What is it? That's like the Declaration of the Family to the World or something. It was an enormous.
It's a very Mormon thing. Yeah.
Right, but it was a huge wood engraved thing.
Uh-huh.
I think as a sample of the workmanship that they could put my article on. And I said, guess what I said? No.
No. No.
No.
So that's why you have to.
So
pretend
that's I like to
you're
try
in
to not.
denial.
It's a little tender.
Yeah.
that spot, and that's also why you may occasionally see me just throwing in. I'm not talking about spirit babies in parentheses.
in case the Mormons are listening.
Just in case the Mormons are wanting to use this in their broadcast.
Well, I just can't believe you guys know. Your story, I get it, and it's a little terrifying.
Well, we just don't talk much about Mormonism, I guess.
But you're surrounded up here, right? There's a
There
lot of
are
Mormons.
There's a lot of Mormons.
Yeah.
In fact,
true.
I think that's the Mormon singles church.
They divide, but they don't.
Kind of is. I think that one's like a singlesy church. Maybe it's
Don't go on record.
Now that we're unleashing Mormon trivia,
Oh, do you have some?
no, my husband grew up in southern Idaho, so it's
Oh,
really,
yeah.
really Mormon down there.
Yes.
And he can spot a Mormon from a mile away with 1,000% accuracy.
Yes.
So we've had neighbors move in down the street and they're unloading the van, and he looks out the window and he goes, "Oh yeah, they're Mormon." And I'm like, "You don't know that they're Mormon."
Yes.
And he's like, "Yeah, I do. I know that they're Mormon."
Yes.
And he's right.
My husband does that too.
He can tell.
Yes. Well, my husband's from Las Vegas, which you wouldn't think,
You wouldn't actually know.
but it is.
Is it?
It is.
What are they doing in
Well,
Vegas?
we're very close to St. George, Utah. Obviously, we're very close to Utah. We're
Yeah,
on the border, essentially. But yeah, and he also wants to say about the Mormons. It's his thing. So
Okay.
he's very in tune.
It's hard work.
Mormons.
It's hard work with the Mormons because
Yeah.
they're such a veneer. It's a pretty hard veneer of we're doing it, we're happy, we're it's hard to get past that.
I have wondered, was Lewis talking about Mormons when he introduces Eustace Clarence Scrubb at the beginning of the Voyage of the Dawn Treader? Because he says that they're teetotalers and vegetarians and they have a special kind of underclothes.
That sounds like a Mormon.
Well, it does. I mean, it sounds like
It sounds
Mormons.
like a Mormon.
But why would...
How did I not know they're vegetarian? They're not, are they always?
Well, no, but I mean, in Voyage of the Dawn Treader,
Right. But there are no caffeine and
Yes. You
Yeah.
can't-
his
you have to
family
do
was
those
that
things.
way, and I was like, is he taking a little pot shot at Mormons,
Right.
or is
That's
he, or
interesting.
maybe there was something else?
I never thought about
in
that.
England
I thought he was
at the
always
time.
doing those bad exercises and stuff. I thought it was just one of those
No, he liked looking at pictures of fat foreign children
doing exercises.
Well, you're gonna have to clue me in. What?
at the beginning of Voyage of the
No,
Dawn Treader.
Eustace, the character, was.
Oh,
it was
I thought you were saying that it was
Not
C.S.
Lewis.
Lewis, and I
No.
was like,
That would be like a really bad
Where
C.S.
are we
Lewis
going?
misquote. And much like
probably
the
Charles
Mormons,
Spurgeon,
much like
honestly.
the Mormons, my quotes are attributed to Neil Anderson. There's a lot of schlock that is attributed to C.S. Lewis.
It's just
That
not.
when it's something like, "Dear mamas, do not." Do not lose heart. Your work with your children will go on forever.
Dear one.
C.S. Lewis. You're like, something about that doesn't ring true. Doesn't ring true to me. I don't think Lewis meant that. Pretty sure.
You never.
Oh, so aside from our real breakout topic here of the Mormons, maybe we should explain that Summer is here in Idaho.
Idaho. Yes,
Behind
I am.
Goodwill.
First time we've
Next
ever
to
seen
the
her in
board.
person in the
Very
flesh.
strange,
I know.
right? It was very strange.
We've talked
We've
before.
talked and
Texted and
intense texters.
And
Rachel
we've both
sends
been on
one
Sheologians.
sentence at a time.
no, I do. It's like a punctuation free bursting method. Yeah, it's you send it instead of punctuation.
Yes. My husband knows when Rachel's texting me. 'cause
I'm
he
really
goes,
self-conscious
bing,
that I should send you
bing,
blanks now.
Bing.
Just to announce.
Rachel. But yes, You guys have been on my show, and your dad has been on my show, and I invited your mom on my show today.
Oh, that's fun.
Because we did cross-politic together. And
We're just really networking here right now, yeah.
I've been planning. I'm like, well, every single Wilson's going to come on my show. That's the plan.
All right.
Are you going to start? Are you planning to start with the grandchildren, or
right? I'll let you. No, not yet. But I am impressed by.
If you ever need a quick 17 episodes, I'm pretty sure that Moses would keep you busy on one. You get a 3-year-old guest.
Yeah. So here I am.
Yay! Here you are. So we're at we just are finishing the Breathless Grace Agenda weekend.
Yeah.
And now we are in the dark after the last party.
Yes.
We just took the world's most awkward selfie attempt.
Oh, we did, guys.
I don't know.
I don't know if we'll show you.
Like and share if you want to see one of these pictures. If we get
a million,
250. Oh,
I was gonna say
1
a million new followers.
1 million downloads of this one episode. you may see one attempt.
It's because there is a wall in our town that some people who are not as in favor of the Christian influence in our town donated to the ACLU, this is downtown, to make a mural. And so we were all breathlessly waiting to find out what this mural was going to be, and
It's a big wall. It's
a big wall,
stories.
and what they came up with was the Sheologians logo.
Right.
Not really. It's just like a Sheologians theme.
But here's the text message I got from Rachel. Here's the text that I got. Someone just painted a Sheologians mural downtown. No explanation. No 8 subsequent
Well, I came
texts.
back and told you.
You did. But I just held my phone. And I was like, I don't know what. So then I was like, oh,
what
kind of a major creeper did that?
Right. And then you explained it, and I was like, well, I'm a dummy.
No, we tried.
ACLU.
So we tried to take, but it's dark. So we had to have the headlights, which meant that when we were trying to take a selfie, there was always a shadow in our face.
It was just bad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was not our best
happening.
work.
The
But
3 of us in an ACLU mural.
But all night tonight anyways, I've been taking pictures with people. And of course, that was how I found out that I had such a bad hairdo right now.
I also
every time you see it, you're like, that is got to be the lumpiest ponytail I ever did create.
And I keep asking me for selfies, and I'm like, well, this is your moment not to be vain.
Yeah.
And just say yes.
You've been called upon to not be vain.
To not be vain.
That's what we're doing here.
And I'll smile at you underneath all my frizz.
I've told you both, but I probably haven't told the podcast listeners about my great publicity stunt that I had from
publicity stunt.
No, it was through the transferring of a lot of other people helping things get done. I needed a speaker photo. I didn't say this on the podcast, did I? Needed a speaker photo for a conference. And the nice people at Canon were like, do you want us to just take a still shot from one of your videos? And I was like, by all means, just do that instead of having me need to come up with a photo. You know, like, that'd be fine. I won't have to work on it that way. So then they just take a still shot, which is why, incidentally, if you saw that picture, what an action shot it is. It's not like it's really a bad picture, but it is definitely not me sitting for a portrait. I'm in mid thought, clearly. And but they use that, it's fine, no probs. I don't know the trail of deeds that happened where they but that picture got shot around to different people, and then it got tweeted out to all the people who might have seen it on the Great Homeschool Convention tweet list. All I know is that I'm tagged in it, and it says, Texas, Ohio, Lizzie Jake is coming your way, or something. Coming soon.
Yep.
And the photo was cropped to fit through, I think through nobody's effort.
The algorithm.
I think something did it for them.
Yes.
But it was just a picture of the fat roll around my middle with my hands expressively speaking. And that was it. Like, just a little blub around my middle because I'm sitting there with the blub around my middle, and they clipped it, and then they shot it off with a big admonition to all of Texas and Ohio to come see it. And I told my husband, I was like, well, they're not lying. I'm bringing it with me. It's coming to Texas and Ohio, and I'm like, and people are gonna have to like look around for me at midsection level and recognize that. Do please, please come to my talk.
Come see it. Coming with me. Today,
hurts me.
I sat down at Canon. They wanted to do one of those, ice cream talks with me.
Oh yeah.
So I walk in and I sit down, and they're nice guys, and they're doing the lighting and adjusting things. And so before we got started, I said, listen, to whoever I forget his name. He was so sweet.
Probably Jake or Alec. Yeah.
I said, whatever you do, please don't give me a double chin. And he goes, okay, hold on. And he readjusts. Which is when I'm like a little bit outraged that he knew. And he knew how to fix it. And he hadn't done it already. But men don't think of these things.
We kind of liked the double chin. Added something.
I have to say though, it's so funny because one of the videos I did in there, I came screaming in from carpool, and I run back there with the shiny forehead and a rumpled hoodie, and I'm like whizzed off with the video. But then there kept being comments about my hoodie strings.
Why?
Well, because they were like really uneven and not looking good. But it actually was pretty funny. Like, it's like, why have you done such a schleppy video for me, for the world? But everyone's like, I knew it must be guys in there, and I thought it's true because
they don't know.
I'm not sure if they would want to tell me. Like, and I'm not going to be like, how do I look?
Right.
And so nobody, it's like the thing we don't ask, we don't tell. We just don't ask,
but we're just going to record it and share it.
And then it's not until it goes out on the internet that I see it either, right? And I'm like, ooh.
It's really killing it.
That'll help with whatever. Anyways. But there's a more serious element to this, which is just being willing to not be self-serious.
Yes. Oh.
I mean, having to be like whatever, that might really not flatter me, but
am I
who
trying
cares?
to be flattered?
Yeah, is that my main gig?
Trying to do. I had someone ask me today, someone said, and this is something you guys probably hear, I don't know how you do all that you do. Or how do you do what you do? And I blurted out without thinking, this is not the best answer. This is not. But I said, I just don't care. That's how I do.
That's a pretty good answer.
It's getting to something, but it's not the whole story. Obviously, I care about some things.
Right.
But there's some, you have to have different
That's
priorities.
Yes, yeah. Okay,
like
a friend. My friend, hi Laura, my friend in France, told me this quote from a UK journalist that she thought really resonated with her, and I was like, no, absolutely, like I love that. This is it. And it's a UK journalist that gets in a lot of trouble. Is attacked a lot. And someone said, so do you just really have a thick skin? Is that why you? And she said, no, not especially. I just have different priorities.
Yeah.
And I love that because it's so true across all of life that, like, depending on where your priorities are, you're equipped to deal with a lot more adversity when your priorities are just elsewhere.
That's right.
Like, if your priority is to be really loved,
right,
then it's going to be hard.
That's going to aim you in a certain direction.
Yeah, like, it's going to be hard if you're like, I'm planning to do anything that might make people mad at me, but all I want is to be loved.
No, if your priority was to get people to compliment your sweatshirt, then you would have done it.
It would have been a real, but it also would have super brought me down to have people be like, sorry about your bad hoodie situation. But it didn't bother me. I do try to not wear rumply hoodie strings now, but I'll tell you, the hardest thing for me about doing those videos is that, like, does anyone have this many shirts? I don't have this many shirts,
No.
guys. I
But
can't.
do they tell you to coordinate? Because you do with the colors and the Yoo-hoo color. It's a thing. You're always coordinated with
I
it.
wear the shirt I have.
No, honey. No. I've seen you in
I'm on the shirt.
plaid,
The shirts. Yeah, well, I have, first of all,
purple.
in the winter, I mostly only have black shirts. And they are all, it didn't matter if it was a different black shirt. You're just always in a black room in a black shirt.
Why?
That's my favorite way
Because
to
I
be.
just wear black shirts.
Why though?
What part are you saying why? I don't understand.
Why?
I have a number of black
let's just
shirts.
back this up. You're
Okay.
like, in the winter, I wear black shirts. My question is,
A
why?
lot. A lot of my
Why?
shirts, a lot of like, I have like a black wool sweater. I have like a black, different kind of a sweater. I wear, because you wear thicker things and I like black. I guess I gravitate to it more in the winter.
winter. I
Like
like
a
black.
long sleeve black thing. I just have a lot of them.
That's weird because today I was lamenting the fact that I had nothing black to wear on top. Like 0 black shirts. So your statements about I always wear black in the winter is why I've seized on that.
Like
now.
I think my point though about that
'Cause
was
clearly
that
I don't.
At that point, it
wear
doesn't
black
matter that you
year-round.
have a lot of different black shirts
Yeah.
because you're always wearing a black shirt in the video. Like in the video, there's no different. You have not changed your outfit when you wear a different black shirt.
But you're just letting us know that you did.
I
That's
did.
good.
I did. But then you wear like one time you wear a sweater
We
that's
know
like
that now.
striped. You can't come back in that. You can't
No.
come back in a dominant thing. So then you're
No.
just like,
And you know,
it's
for
over.
me, every time I
One
feel like,
time.
you know what, it doesn't matter. I did wear this dress last year, possibly to the same event, but you know, who cares? Nobody
My-
That's
noticed.
the thing is people care
and
less
then-
than you think they
But I
less.
say that to myself, and
Yes.
then you show up and they go, "Oh, you wore that dress last year."
shoot.
did I though?
Never mind.
Like, wow.
Did I know?
Well,
You
now I
might
can't
be
keep
right.
telling myself that.
No,
Well, snap.
No, I do think people care less about
Than
those
you
things
think
than
they
we
do.
think they do.
it's true.
That is the thing that I remember being a moment of like needing to cope with myself. These moments of deciding it doesn't matter. It was after having a baby, one of them, where I was like, nothing fits. Nothing. Like there is no article of clothing in my house
own.
No.
that is in any way attractively
Why
flattering.
you feel like togas might be a better idea?
You're like,
Right,
why
now I know.
why don't
Now
I
I
just
know
have a
why they
gunny
did
sack?
that.
I mean, why don't we have a gunny sack
Right.
suit for me right now? So everything was, all of my pants were from the Fat Chance pants pile. there's the fat pants and then the Fat Chance pants, and none of them at that moment were fitting me.
Neither.
And everything was just not good. But it was like we were going to church or something, and I remember. It wasn't like it was immodest. It was like it's not flattering. Do you know what I mean? Like I could be covered and
Sure.
decent.
Yeah.
It was just not anything I wanted to wear
Yeah.
ever. And I remember this moment of just being like, really, is anyone going to
Right.
notice?
Who's really gonna
But
care?
then the reality is, what if they do? That was the thing. It's just like, well, what if they do? Why would I care?
Right.
Like, why, what matters about that?
Right.
And having to actually process it with, like, actually the only thing that could be bothered is my pride. Because if someone sees me and thinks to themselves, I'm so glad I don't gain weight like that when I have my babies. When I, or whatever it was. I'm so glad I never struggled with weight like she's struggling now. If somebody thinks that, then I think, why would that offend me if they are actually being grateful that they didn't have to deal with this? It has nothing to do with me. And then you think, and if they're being actually snarky,
Right.
which I don't think anyone at church would be, but if they were, why would I care what they think? Like if they're, and it's
Right.
funny how you have to like break down the thought process to be
Right.
like, the reason I'm fussy right now is because
What
I'm being a little proud and stupid.
Right.
And that's not a good choice.
Right.
Let's back out of that hole, Rachel.
Really wondering if that was a cop.
No, it's just a Mormon.
Which is scarier?
So,
Probably a single Mormon.
Oh no!
Now that Rachel has said that.
I had someone today tell me, this is off topic, that they moved to Moscow after they met the police because the police were so nice.
Oh, really?
Yes, and I think that's true. Because everyone here is so nice.
I have not heard that rumor that someone moved here for the police department.
I heard it.
But the police are nice. I mean, I've never, I don't run afoul of the police often here, but when I have, they've always been very nice.
Like, of course you haven't.
Yeah.
Wait, how not often has this been? Exactly.
I mean, like, if you get pulled over, I've always had a polite, I mean, they're always very kind.
You
but
know,
I
now,
can't-
here's a pop trivia. We have a SWAT team. Did you know that? I didn't. But they're borrowing CJ's this week, I believe, to run us.
What's
CJ's is a building that NSA just bought and is hoping to remodel for the conservatory.
Did you
but
not
it
get
is
to see CJ's?
It's a
I don't know what that is.
sleazy nightclub.
It's the one with the drunk pink bunnies in it.
Sleazy nightclub
I
that
missed that
is
gem.
really epic. But anyway, it's this sort of derelict
It
building.
was a sleazy nightclub and multiple ones on different levels of it. Like there was like a basement one
Yeah.
and then another one. And then, but for forever.
I know, but they're
Yeah.
running SWAT exercises in there. And so Ben, they asked if they could use the building. He was like, if I can be one of the bad guys. So I don't know if he's joining into their SWAT exercises while they're trying to breach the building.
Oh my word, for some reason, Luke and I we needed to go get something or look at something in that building. And it's this huge, right now they mostly,
This is the
quit.
building I've had to cater dinners for several
Yeah,
hundred people,
but
and
they
there's
mostly-
no kitchen.
they
there's
mostly
no running
quit
water
having
except
windows.
in the bathroom.
so they quit on the
How
windows
do you
in this
quit
place.
having a
They
window?
bla-
They
bricked
blocked
them
them up, and so it is like a huge brick cube of former evil doings that were in there. So when Luke and I go to get there, Merkel's give us a key, and we had not previously used the back entrance. In the back entrance is like a
Sketch-orama.
serious murder situation in the back.
Okay,
And you go
murder
in,
vibes.
but you go into like the back, it's like the back working rooms of a really nasty old bar, but you're in like a tiny cube with a metal staircase and for some reason up the little skinny danger stairs past yawning black openings, into these devious club areas. And then you get up to the top and there is a chain and a 5-gallon bucket with a light hanging from the ceiling on like a huge hook.
Yeah.
It's like I think someone was trying to figure out how to like hoist things up the stairwell. But it's like a
that at
bucket and a chain and a hook. Like I was like, what is this place?
We could maybe stop there on our way home and
Yeah.
We'll drop you off.
Puts the lotion on
You
its
can-
skin. It's a very Silence of the Lambs moment we experienced.
Which I haven't seen.
Neither
So
have I.
I'm like, why would we
Right.
put lotion on something's
Right.
skin?
Sorry, I'm
But-
hanging out with Christian.
You're
I forgot.
you're pulling a pop culture reference and we can't follow you.
I'm not recommending the film. I'm just saying it's...
Sure you're not.
Yeah, it's classic.
Yeah, well, I don't recommend the back stairs of CJ.
I don't blame
So-
you.
I,
Very murdery.
meanwhile, have spent a lot of time on the back stairs of CJ's because, you're catering something on the second floor with no kitchen. You're running up and down
She
those
put
stairs.
stuff in the bucket.
I'm missing.
Wait.
There's a connection. There's a connection I'm missing. Why are you catering things here?
Oh, see, yeah, there's so many questions. So, NSA bought it, and they're remodeling it,
Okay.
God willing.
But it's
to
not
be the
done.
new conservatory.
No.
It's barely begun.
Done is not one of the words.
You can
It
use.
still has these hand-painted pink bunny murals around, and he... I think the man who owned it was trying to channel kind of a cross between Roger Rabbit and the Playboy Bunny, but hand-painted by someone with maybe not as great of artistic talent as he thought.
tell because it does seem like it was probably painted by like a 12-year-old maybe, but except that it's clearly a drunk bunny.
Yeah, no, drunk
And
bunnies
drunk with a
smoking
pool cue.
cigars.
With a pool cue.
Yeah.
And it's like, how could I don't think I could make a bunny look drunk.
I don't think I could make a bunny.
And how
They're
you
pink.
could really so accurately catch the aura of the place in a pink bunny. It's amazing.
There's some skill there.
Yeah.
I don't know what to name the skill.
There's
it's
something.
there.
And
But
so
it's something, yeah.
why are we talking about the bunnies?
Why do you
Because
cater?
I was like, I'm going to drink this water. I was
Do.
like, what do you mean? So it's this
So
nasty
anyway,
place.
it's this skeezy place, but
Yeah.
the upstairs actually is
It's
this
being remodeled.
hasn't been destroyed terribly. It's like a weird time capsule from like mid-century. Like it's the old Moscow Social Club on the second floor.
Yeah.
So it's actually kind of a cool big room.
Yeah.
And there's no kitchen to speak of. The only running water is in these weird bathrooms. And so for the school banquet, which they always have in the fall, we decided, hey, we have a building. Let's do it here. That'll be fun. So that's what we did. And so I've done it now 2 years up there where they put in, the first year I think we had just bought the building.
Yeah.
The second year they've started remodeling. They're starting down below, scraping out the old
Nasty
bad
things.
sin-infested carpet.
Stripper poles. They took out those.
No, they haven't. It's still in there.
So they haven't gotten to that level of sin
Welcome
removal
to
yet.
NSA.
Yeah.
That part's kind of closed off. We don't
Yeah.
go over there right now, but that's not where the banquet was. It was upstairs. But anyway, yeah,
It's
so
a pretty old room upstairs. It's just kind of
it's actually quite a pretty old building that got
messed up.
turned gross.
Well, way to take
sometime.
the minion.
So, Summer, tell us,
Yeah.
how long have you been doing Sheologians?
So September of 2016. So
Whoa.
September of this year will be our year 3. But you guys didn't start too long after
I was
we
going
did.
to say pop quiz. Rach, when did we start?
Yeah.
I have
Oh, I don't
no
know.
idea.
I couldn't have been that long.
No, I think you're right. I think it was
2017.
I
I'm
think
gonna
we've only
say-
been doing it like 2 years.
I'm going
years.
to say
I
March
think we've
of
done it 2 years.
2017. And somebody out there can let us know. But I think
I think you're right. No, I think you're right.
We weren't that old when you
Yeah,
guys...
no, I think you're right.
Yeah.
Maybe. So, what has been like the most surprising things you found doing it? I mean, like, what have you learned, or like, have you changed direction with your own mission, or have you?
Yeah. Well, you kind of find out who you are and who you're not. Like,
Right.
This is what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
You know, you're the kind of podcaster where I've literally heard you say, "I'm sorry, I wasn't listening to you. I'm so bored." Not self-serious, which is good.
Yeah.
But I think what's encouraging is I have seen. I mean, your podcast does really well, but you guys aren't. I mean, you're in a car next to a Mormon ward, for the record.
Recording on an iPhone.
Which really is
Right.
throwing some spiritual
I'm
shade.
feeling it.
Right.
I'm feeling it. But
Yeah.
so we kind of, when we first started, we planned on being a 15-minute podcast.
Yeah.
Wow, that worked. You stuck with that goal.
Micro podcast. And I don't even know if we had direction. But then what kind of started giving us direction was when the Women's March happened.
Oh,
Because
right.
That month, it was in response to Trump,
Right.
his election.
Yeah.
And Joy and I had this funny conversation where we both were realizing, and it had nothing to do with the show, we were just hanging out. We both kind of felt like if we weren't believers, we would be feminists. Like, we would totally be feminists.
Yeah.
And here's all the reasons why it makes sense to be a feminist
Right.
if you don't have a God the Father.
Right.
So we're like, let's talk about feminism.
Sure.
So then we decided
That'll be popular, you thought?
No.
Everyone will love us for what we'll say about that.
Right. So we're like, we're gonna take 4 episodes. We're gonna talk about every wave of feminism. We're gonna do
Okay,
this.
right.
And then at the end of that month, randomly, Jeff from Apologia and Marcus, our producer, was like, we're gonna go to the Women's March. Come, like, let's record you talking to people.
Oh, right. I think I remember seeing a video.
And I had never done anything like that before, but I just, at that point in my life, was just like, okay, let's just do whatever. Let's
Yeah.
just
Right.
do the thing.
Try it, yeah.
And so then the feminism episodes and then that video going viral was what kind of really gave us, okay, this is... Christian women want to hear this.
Yeah.
They want to learn about this and they want to be challenged. Like, they really want to be challenged.
Yeah.
And that was kind of one of our foundational principles, was like, we weren't happy with what was available for women. Like, we weren't feeling... we felt like there was a void and we wanted to fill it.
Yeah.
And so that was that moment was like, okay, this is this is filling something.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I've really figured out what that is yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's still a real big void.
still-
There's a lot of filling that needs to be done.
Yeah.
You know?
The workers are few. But I just think that I think Christian women underestimate themselves and underestimate each other. And
For sure.
so we don't want to do that.
Yeah.
And I think whatever episode we're releasing on Monday, we already have recorded. We're talking about death.
Okay.
Like, that was what I wanted to talk about. I have so
Okay.
many things to say about death. And
Okay.
I think Christians are bad at death. And that we obviously don't pick topics for what's going to get the most play.
Yeah,
But I
right.
just had this moment where I was like, Joy, nobody thinks about death the right way. Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
So it's going to be weird, but I just hope that I don't know, we just want to challenge people.
Yeah.
And everyone that I've met this weekend that has listened to the show that's like been a theme.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Being challenged.
yeah.
What do you think they're most challenged by? Is it the opposition to feminism? Is
I
it
feel
the
like we should say-
alternative? What is it?
You can all comment on this episode and tell us, because clearly we don't know.
What are they most I just think there's a lack of discipleship in the church that, from talking to Rachel and from having kind of a similar, where we were raised by men who were in the public spotlight, and we were, I think in a way, all of us have experienced a bit of a bubble in our very formative years.
Okay.
And so
A bubble, do you mean
a church bubble.
like we lived in a bubble?
We lived in a bubble, a bit of a bubble. Now, we lived in a different bubble because I know that my dad would purposely expose me to things that weren't Christian so that we could discuss it. So it's not like a protective bubble, but a bubble in the sense that what I'm hearing from people, like the way that they were raised in the faith is not a way that I know anything about. Like a serious lack of discipleship, a lack of connection between, okay, these are the 10 commandments. I had to memorize them when I was 8. What do they have to do with my life?
Right.
What do they mean? What does it mean that this is the first commandment that comes with a promise?
Right.
They've never had that, like, exposited before.
Right.
And so all of these very practical things, like the connection between the rules and the reasons for the rules,
Right.
weren't
Whoa.
given to them.
Jinx.
Right.
Say you owe me a pop, but you already bought me one today.
Because you're soda people.
Yeah,
We
right.
are.
This is a big
Summer is
expose
not.
night with Summer. She's
There's a
letting all
Mormon
the
church
secrets
of
out.
Soda and reasons for rules. Rules for reasons. I don't
So
remember what I'm
discipleship.
saying.
You were saying discipleship, that women are you talking about women you think were raised Christians or becoming
Yes.
believers later?
Both, but that's what I think isn't happening. What women are telling me all the time is that these conversations are not happening in their churches. They're not happening there. They're not happening in their women's groups. They're not happening in their studies. They're not happening from the pulpit. And so it's like an extreme lack of discipleship in the church.
People are scared of offending the women, though. It's like, because if you offend the women, they come for you, like with machetes. And so
Careful.
it's like everyone,
this is a ladies' issue.
Everybody tiptoe around the women and don't make them feel sad and don't make them feel hurt and don't make them feel like you're asking them to do anything. And the problem is I think women who want to be faithful, they hate that. They actually do want to be challenged, and they want to be given something to do, and they want to be shown which direction to go. But it is, I think there is a huge fear in the church of upsetting the women.
Right.
And I think that it's a valid fear because I think women behave extremely badly in churches all over the place. And it's this very manipulative, passive aggressive. They figured
big
out
time.
how to run the church and keep the pastor completely cowed.
Right.
But it's all by this kind of manipulative, don't hurt me, don't you see how tender I am? It's like this really amazing bully tactic that I think a lot of women have mastered.
Right.
But I think there's a lot of faithful women in there who
hate
don't
it.
want that, and they're not a part of it. But when you have the leadership has been sort of effectively silenced, then the women who really need direction aren't getting it.
Right. Well, those women need to repent and then be properly discipled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
exactly.
Like,
But it's the people who are more like, it's like there is a real battle happening there somewhere, and then there's a whole lot of just sheep in the crossfire. because because they aren't personally invested in, like, it only takes like 2 or 3 highly manipulative women
That is
to
so
actually
true.
dominate the church.
How
and you can
influential
have
2 or 3
yeah,
women be?
and
It's
but then you
serious.
have a whole bunch of people who don't know what to do about it, and then you have all the people who suffer the lack of direct teaching because of it.
Yep.
And so it's a lot of different classes of things going on there. You know, it's and it's different all over the place because it's all kinds of different reasons.
But I do think that women have a unique ability to say something about it. And I think men are sort of, it doesn't excuse them for not addressing it. But I do think that they are more handicapped in trying to point it out, because if you say you're being an overly dramatic, manipulative,
miserable cow
stinker, then they really look like the villain no matter what.
Well, this is that thing that we've always said, kind of a good guideline for if you should be involved in something like a snaggle of some kind is, are you part of the problem or part of the solution? Like and if you're neither of those things, get yourself away from it, because you're not helping anyone at that point. But the problem for men is that the problem is a disagreement about whether people saying you're part of the problem and you may never be part of the solution.
Yeah.
Right? And so they're saying you have no right to be here at all.
You man
person, you hateful one.
Shepherd,
I have to tell
leave the sheep.
You want to know my good idea?
From your sheep.
You're not a sheep, so you don't understand them.
Right, you can't understand us.
This is what we joke about that. You know that, not my circus, not my monkeys.
Yeah.
That phrase.
Right.
We tell Dad, not your circus, some of your sheep. Because sometimes it's like, why on earth is that my problem? Like, why did any sheep get in there? Like this is, what are they doing? It's like that idea of the shepherd leaving the 99 to go find the one. But the one is hanging out in CJ's. having a weird feminist time in CJ's. And you just end up with a what on earth are you doing? Like, what? How did you get here? Why?
And acting offended when the shepherd comes.
You drove me to this.
I was catering. Just catering with my bucket. Your mom said today, they asked us on Cross Politic, what is the biggest problem facing evangelical women? And in her nice, sweet way that I in 0 ways can emulate, she said, well, they're a bunch of cowards. But not like that. Just for the record.
No, it would have been a very simple delivery. Like,
it was simple.
Well,
was
they're
classy.
a bunch of cowards.
It was,
it's
she's saying that they need to be courageous.
Yeah.
And she brought up being courageous and how to do that. And I think sometimes the most courageous thing you can do is keep your mouth shut.
Gosh, yeah.
You know? And women are bad at that.
They are.
Yeah.
Really bad at that.
Well, that's the whole concept of submission is not either the way that lazy women go. That's the thing that I am always stunned by, that assumption that submitting to your husband is the easy way out. Like, because people always want to say, like, they want to say that only a coward would be, but I'm like, no, if you're not in a trampling, if you're not in an abusive relationship, which we always have to throw that qualifier out there because it's possible. Right. But for a strong-minded, strong-willed, intelligent woman to submit is an act of courage. It is an act of self-control. It is an act of doing what your king tells you to do. And I don't mean your husband. I'm talking about Jesus. Like I'm saying, like your king told you to do this. And if you're a good soldier, then you do it when it costs you something. And that it is not it always wants to be portrayed as like it's for women who are just blobs of dough would do that. And then, the doormat, the unintelligent, and that's when I connected that from you saying keeping your mouth shut, but I mean keeping your mouth shut, like not being critical, not being bickery,
not being a gossip, not being a slanderer, not, you know what I mean? I think it's just one of those things that women, I don't think we've been I don't think we've been actively discipled to think about how we're speaking and when we should or shouldn't speak. And there's, it's like we have so much teaching in Scripture on our words
The tongue.
and how
Yeah.
they should
Yeah.
be used.
Yeah.
And I think if you bring that up around women that are not following that, the
Are
offenses.
you trying
the
to
offense-
silence
yeah.
me?
The offenses.
What are you insinuating?
You say
Right.
the thing about, are you
I'm not
trying to silence
insinuating,
me?
I'm
It's like,
telling you.
it's like,
I
you're
am
like, wait.
insinuating nothing.
You're like, wait, I am trying to silence you. Is there a mute button
Yes.
somewhere that we could access?
Yes, yes, but it's like it's not, and I think people
That was
don't even
rude.
see how good how positive it is, though.
Yeah.
Like, do you see the benefit? Like, I think what person has not been harmed or seen a church harmed or a relationship harmed because of people that wouldn't tame their tongues?
But it's so funny too, though, because all of the popular wisdom is that if you feel it, you must express
You must
it.
express it.
Because what could go wrong?
Also, it's interesting that no one else is okay with what they say about you. They're all toxic people that should be eliminated from your life.
Right.
However, when
Because
they read those
said
memes,
they said something
they were
negative.
just expressing what was in their heart.
You're like,
you know?
Aunt Sue,
You just have to accept
you're the worst because you say rude things to me. And you're like, wait a minute,
Hold on.
who's being the Rudy now? It's just a thing when it's a spiritual version of the selfie camera being on when you didn't mean it to be on. You need to
You
turn
see
these
it.
thoughts back and notice what you're looking like
Right.
while you're cutting all the toxic people out of your life.
The witch from The Little Mermaid.
You're like, ooh.
That's what you look like every
Ursula.
time. You look like Ursula.
Yeah, you're doing it. You're looking like that, lady. Yeah, that is really funny.
It is true. And trying to be, like, discreet. You know, like, you know the verse about being discreet, chaste, homemakers. I think, like, having discretion a lot of times is just when to speak and when to not
Yes.
speak. You know, keep
Yes.
the mouth shut.
And we're all gonna fail horribly at it all the time. But you have so there's two ends to that. Is giving grace when someone is clearly fumbling through how to do this.
Yeah.
And loving them and being gracious about it. But then also, loving other people enough to want to be discreet.
Yeah,
to want
exactly.
to use
Yeah.
discretion.
And honestly, sometimes discretion is knowing when to shut up, but other times it's having to say something when you really don't want to say anything at all.
Yeah, and having to frog march your friend off to go tell someone what they did.
What's a frog march?
I think it's where isn't it where in
don't
my
know. I
mind's
need to know
eye,
now.
it's where you're compelling them from behind somehow,
Yeah.
such that they sort of look like
You
a frog.
compelled me from the front.
I did. Well, we don't have any footage of that, but I did do a little
I
sheepdoggy
didn't even
move.
realize this was happening. I kept talking, but Rachel was walking me out a door, face to
But
face.
you'd
and
been
I
in.
just walked
Becca
backwards.
was waiting for us in the alley, and I got between Summer and Heather to get her out the door. But I would have gone unnoticed, except for Elise was like, "Look what you're doing! Look what you're doing!
I
You're
just
sheep
kept
dogging her out." And Summer and Heather are still talking,
still
like
talking,
over my
but I was
shoulder. But
walking
I'm like,
backwards.
"We're going together out the door."
I didn't even realize this was happening.
And meanwhile, I'm texting you.
Yeah, Becca was like, "Where are you?" I'm like, we're coming, but I just gotta force Summer backwards out the door.
She did. She did
I
a
did.
great job.
I got it done.
So it's like a reverse frog march.
Yeah,
Got
but the
it.
frog march,
Yes,
in my
frog
mind, I think of it as being, where someone has like kind of almost like silly legs because someone behind them is pushing them along. Do you know what I mean by that? Like they're doing like a
Yeah.
funny little, but that could be something I generated of my own brain about that term. But the idea being kind of like you're grabbing them by the ear and taking them off to
Right.
confess something because if your friend is like, I just thought I should tell you that I'm having an affair, you don't be like, your secret is safe with me.
Okay.
Right.
You be like,
I need to
hello,
say this, though.
calling the pastor,
Yeah,
calling,
I've
right
had a Christian woman say to me before, though. She was like, "But wait, would you tell anyone that?" And I was like, what are you saying to
Like,
me?
do you
Like,
hear?
you
Do you hear the
said-
fire station noon alarm?
She
That would have been me.
she told me that a friend had confided in her that she was having an affair And she herself, the one confided in, never breathed a word of it, not even to her own husband. Because it was like, it's not... And I was like, yeah, I would have been on the phone that hot minute with my husband being like, what do I do?
You would be with your friend saying, no, you stay there. Like, no, you're here until the
I'll
whole
be back
church
with
council gets here. I'm calling all the authorities involved.
Yes.
We're handling this now.
I'm calling the
That
pastor
gave me the
now.
willies. How do you live
Your
with that?
sin should...
I don't
people's
understand
sins
that.
should not be...
Where it's like somebody can decant their sin
Yeah,
at
because
you,
then
and you're
all
just
you
gonna
are is
do nothing.
you are
Yeah.
now actually a...
That's not how you live.
What
An
is the word?
enabler.
No, it's not an enabler that I'm thinking of.
Well,
it's
that's
someone
what
who's
you're being.
guilty. No, but I'm talking about like in a crime. You're actually an accessory.
Accomplice.
Or you're an accessory.
Accessory.
No, I'm saying you are because you did not report. You know, like you have
You kept the secret with her.
You have acted like that's a sin that doesn't
Right.
matter. And
Right.
it does
Well,
matter.
okay, so growing up in the pastor's house, of course, we had a closer up view sometimes
Yep.
of some of the meltdowns that happened.
Yep.
Right.
And tragically, that is something that happens.
Yes.
But one of the things that I feel like when it's sort of younger people, this is probably true of older people as well, but like you have the high school kid who gets in big trouble because whatever, he's doing something bad. There's always a ring of kids around him who knew the whole time
And didn't do anything.
and did
Yeah.
nothing,
Yeah.
told no one,
Yeah.
never mentioned it.
Yeah.
They weren't doing it themselves.
No,
but
didn't.
they
They
just
didn't.
let it
What was
happen.
No,
happening.
but like didn't confront it.
Right.
Yeah.
Didn't. I mean, not even just amongst themselves. Didn't
Right.
say
Yeah.
you should not
They
do
didn't
that. How dare
confront
you?
it. They did, and then
Right.
other times there's been really fabulous jobs that they've done of like,
Oh, I think it's
you
awesome
know,
when
of friends telling other friends like, well, you're gonna have to go tell your teacher or I will.
you will or I do.
You know?
No,
And
but
that's really great.
and I love
Right.
when that happens because I love when someone tells their young people group about their sin and it goes over like nothing at all and they get in big trouble. That really makes me laugh. Like when they clearly thought they were going to be like, guess what's
Guess
super
what
cool?
I guess what I
snuck out
did."
of the house last night to go, and they're like, well, I'll tell your mom.
Right. I believe it. I've met Lagos kids now.
We're about to get pulled over again.
Are we really? Is this the popo?
It can't. It's not the police, is it?
Well,
I
why
hope.
else? Yeah, it is.
Oh my word. Okay, this summer. I can't even believe
Okay,
it.
this time we're leaving it on.
Just
They're
don't.
recording. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I know.
Were we
I
about to tell me
cannot
not to
believe
do?
it.
Okay,
No, I was gonna say we just
what?
wanted this to happen for you. We already spoke kindly of the police on this
Coming
episode.
back. I know.
Oh,
I
that's
know,
so bright.
right?
This time
It
he's
is.
got the lights.
Should I be buckled up?
No.
No,
the
'cause
car's
we're not
moving.
driving.
Okay,
This
great.
is amazing.
He's probably gonna. You're rolling my window
I
down
know,
on
I
the back.
How's it going, guys?
Hi.
Hi.
What's up?
We're recording a podcast.
We're podcasting.
We're just
Oh,
drinking
okay.
some Diet
Visit.
Coke.
Look,
Okay.
you can see the phone. It's recording.
Grabbing a view up here.
This
Yeah, it's
is
just
where
a
we
nice
typically
place to
do
park.
because we get coffee.
I'm from Las Vegas.
What brings you to town?
A conference.
Oh, okay.
And I don't understand this small city life.
What's the conference for? Can I ask?
It was Grace
The
Agenda.
Yeah, it's a Christian conference here in
Oh,
town.
okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Was that up at the church here?
No, it's Christchurch.
At the the conference was at the
The
Nazarene
Nazarene
Church.
Church.
Cool.
But she's
Yeah.
our friend from out of town, so we're recording a podcast while she's with us.
Cool. Well, I just pop up here, given the
And-
hour it is.
yeah.
I know.
It's around the corner.
Yeah.
We appreciate you.
We do. We're not being sinister. We just look sinister up here.
Just from afar, right?
Yeah.
There's no
Thank you.
alcohol in
There's
the car.
nothing going
No.
wrong in here. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Well, Summer,
Yeah.
we wanted to treat you to
I
our best
really-
stuff. And guys,
Taste of the town.
we gave a plug to our police department, and now that you've experienced how courteous
He was so
they are,
nice.
I is so nice.
he was
Same
so
guy.
nice.
I think it was.
He should know your shenanigans. by
Well,
now.
I think he might have. I like that he fact checked us.
Did
Were
he?
you like
where
say,
was
what
it?
conference
Where
was it?
That's right.
What did you come to town for, ladies?
I choked. He said, "What was the conference for?" I said, "The Lord."
having a conference for the Lord. We're getting arrested because it's late at night and we're creeping behind the hotel. So let's all just. I think it's time to wrap this up with our tips about how to handle cops graciously.
See, last time we were so annoyed we turned off the phone.
Well, we
before
were
he
laughing,
came.
but of course the Lord gave us another chance to
Redo.
record our
The
cop.
poor
really
man,
glad I could be
the poor
here
man,
for it.
he's probably never going to come up here again.
Well, I think it's probably on his
Probably
duties.
just relieved,
so, you know.
honestly, that he doesn't have to deal with some weird,
Yeah.
Yeah.
thing.
So,
Probably.
do you have a tip?
Yes, I'm full of tips.
I love
Good.
that
It
you
has
have
nothing
one.
to do with any of the cool things you guys can do. But here's my hot tip.
Okay, give it to us.
Okay. Slow drivers stay in the right lane.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Can we just settle on that? Because I drive from Las Vegas to Phoenix all the time.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And I want to do a PSA. I want to do the more you know star. I want LeVar Burton on it. I want people to know.
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you my struggle here with that.
I'm ready.
All right, are you ready?
Yes.
I lived in England for 3 years.
Ah.
And it works backwards there.
Yes.
And although I have gotten back to the habit of I get in on the right side of the car now,
Uh-huh.
I still have a trouble with which one's the fast lane.
That's so funny.
You know,
How many
Summer,
years has it
Summer,
been?
It's
her
a long
Becca's
time.
tip
It's a long time.
is for you to be more compassionate for
No,
those
this
who
is
can't
life
tell
and
the lanes
death.
apart.
This is dangerous. You have to get this right. You need to buckle
Walk
up.
me through it. I
You
do
need
buckle
to-
up.
And you need to, if you're driving slow, you need to stay on the right. I see people almost kill themselves all the time because they won't get this right.
What did they do to kill themselves?
They play chicken with semis. And then the people who...
How are they playing chicken if they're going the same direction?
Yeah, that's my question.
Well, so what happens is the semis, they have a harder time speeding up and slowing down than the rest of us, right?
Yeah.
So
Right.
if we're on inclines and stuff like that, and they need to pass a vehicle that is going too slow, but then that lane is crowded with cars that are going too slow.
Right, yeah.
You're
Yeah.
putting yourself in a dangerous situation. And then what happens is, so these people that are going slow, they get in the left lane. But then you have the people who insist on going 90, which I'm not defending, nor do I do. But they will weave in and out of traffic, which is the most dangerous
Yeah.
thing.
It's true.
All right, we're with you. We're with you on that.
Can I talk you all into it?
I
I
try
believe
to do
you.
it.
I
I'm
believe
just
you.
saying it's not
the
intuitive
law.
for me.
Right.
Also, we have no freeways.
It doesn't not a real super struggle in our life, because if we decide to go to Pullman, where we have to deal with more than one lane, we might have to do a refresher course for ourselves real quick on what is Summer's tip.
If you're going to go the speed limit, you stay in the right lane.
Actually, I do know this tip because my husband is, being from Chicago, he feels strongly about this one.
Yeah.
So I am
feel very
tuned into
strongly
that.
about it.
One of my tips for safe driving is
This is a new segment. It's a new segment.
my tip. I don't know why I like milk bubbles.
What?
You know when people get a milk bubble and they usually can't hear it themselves, but their voice is totally altered. It's a thing that that's a thing I
Why is it
cannot
a
stop. It's
okay.
like a thing that I cannot control my hilarity about it when that happens. I just think it's too funny. And one of those other things is when people use their blinker around gentle curves in the road. where there was no other there's only one road here, and they're blinking, and here we go. And
When she says this, she says that it's like a generic problem. She means me.
You're going to use a blinker as we go down this?
One specific place in the road where it is a fork in the road.
No, it is
a
not.
fork.
Is it up around are you talking about on perimeter?
Yeah, this
drive?
is the only
No.
time you find this funny.
I find it funny every time when there is a road. Okay, no, because
fork.
because it's not just you. Because sometimes people do it when it's just an
We need
aggressive turn, and so that you actually have to turn the steering wheel substantially.
Right.
So they just autopilot the blinker on that, and it kills me every time. But there is one road where the road really veers all the way off, but it's actually, you need to get off of the road that you're on. It's not it's not really, you don't need to blink that you're staying on the road. That's the thing that kills me, because it's it's the signal that says I'm not turning. see that road coming up. I'm not going
not
there.
going on it.
That's why I reverse blinked. Anyways, that's my tip for safe
job,
driving.
guys. Good job.
My tip is to blink at all curves in the roads. Just keep everyone apprised of your movements. Okay. Did you have a tip, Meg? Because we're going overtime.
Yeah,
we're up
way
late.
overtime.
We're getting arrested. We're
getting arrested.
overtime.
Look at us. We're almost at a dead hour. All right, guys. It's
Bring
been
us
real.
in. Bring
Have
us in,
fun.
Beck. Talk for 18 seconds and bring us
18
into a dead
seconds.
hour. It'll be like stopping the gas pump right on the
Right
right. Yeah.
at the
Yeah.
right
Okay,
moment.
do it, Beck. Give us a tip, Beck.
I don't have a tip that's 6
Oh,
seconds.
it's hard. Who's gonna do it? Am I gonna try?
Okay,
Get it.
we're going to
6,
do it.
7, 8,
And
9. Next
goodbye.
time.
Called Conference challenges Christian high school students to become the next generation of cultural leaders. Talks given throughout the week encourage high school students to put on the whole armor of God, engage culture, and advance the kingdom in all areas of life. Check out this year's Called Conference by visiting calledconference.ninja. That's this summer, July 15th to the 20th, here in Moscow, Idaho. Sign up today at calledconference.ninja.